We were talking about this a little bit yesterday, and I know on the GM Shuffle you got a little hot about it, but at what point do you think people are going to start giving Brock Purdy a little bit of credit for actually being good at football? It seems like we kind of just create deficiencies for him, even though everyone watches him play on Sunday and he just continues to throw 4 touchdowns and for over 300 yards. We understand he was Mr. Irrelevant, but he's the odds-on favorite to win MVP. But even if he were to win the MVP this year and they win the Super Bowl, people are still going to make excuses and talk about his weapons and how good they are. Like, at what point do you think people will actually start to appreciate Brock Purdy for how good he is as a quarterback?
I think it's hard to make people understand the game of football. They see it their way, and they just won't change, And so it's hard to get them to see the obvious. And this is really obvious. I mean, look, I'm embarrassed to say I was in the scouting profession, and this kid went in the 7th round. How did you recognize it as somebody better? But one of the things you have to do in scouting is admit you made a mistake. And so this kid in that tape last week, Kyle Shanahan has complete faith in him. And I said on my podcast last week when he was 11-1 to be the MVP that, there are a lot of Joe Montana-like qualities in the player. Now, he's not Joe. I'm not suggesting that. But his rhythm, his accuracy, his athleticism is sneaky good. And he's got great timing, and he throws the ball. And all he does is play point guard. He just distributes the football to the people in the right spot. And they have confidence in him. And he's likable. The team loves him. They love him. One of the things about Pickett, the team loves Pickett, right? If Pickett wasn't the kind of kid he was, I think the Steelers would be easier to move away from him. But they love him as a competitor and as a person.
Takes the boys to concerts.
Yeah, I mean, this kid is so good. Like, I don't know why. The 2 players I don't understand why they're not in the MVP conversation. It was Purdy and Tyreek Hill. Like, I don't understand how Tyreek Hill. Like, people say, well, you got to vote for McCaffrey. No, wait a minute. The best offensive player in the game, the guy who tilts the field more than anybody, is Tyreek Hill. Like, you're holding on to anything you have. When he goes to the sideline and you're the deep, ask Chuck. It's a different game calling when he ain't on the field.
The reason why I just looked that way is Chuck actually went, that is a...
I mean, look, I love McCaffrey. McCaffrey's great. McCaffrey's tremendous. But he's like a luxury part to a beautiful car. I mean, he's tremendous, and he fits perfectly in what they do. But this Hill guy now, I mean, he tilts the field. Like, you're scared to death. You're breathing. You can't call cover one. Your safety can't make a mistake. You can't do anything. And then when you have an angle on him, forget about it. What he has is rare. He's got rare speed, rare speed, and rare quickness. Rare quickness and rare speed, that rarely goes together. But this kid's, like, I don't know why
durability.
He's not in the MVP.
Hey, and durability.
And toughness.
Yeah.
And toughness. And he's tough, And so, like, with their defense, the way they play defense, and the way that they have this weapon, and if they continue to run the ball, look, they're going to be like most people in the Northeast. They're going to stay in Florida for the winter. They have one more road game this year, and it's in Baltimore. And then if they can win 4 of the next 5, they get home field advantage. You got to go play them down there. That ain't easy.
Yeah, that thickness is what coaches and everybody's actually thinking about going down there in Miami. And also Tootsies.
Yeah, of course.
There's the Miami flu that could potentially come second floor out there getting shoulder rubs. I've never seen it happen personally, but I've heard stories of other teams potentially wandering Miami until the wee hours and then not playing their best football the next day as they're sweating more than they have for the last 2 weeks because
and
the humidity.
Hamstring pulls. Yeah. Hamstring pulls happen after you get done playing. Wonder how that
It's like
happens.
a combo.
Yeah.
It's like the clubs and nightlife. Let's boom, we'll get them a little we'll spar with them.
Tire 'em out.
And then the heat and humidity during the game is going to dehydrate you. Boom. It's like a knockout down there. And they haven't had a team, that's really been able to take advantage of it. But like Tyreek will run your ass to sleep.
Yeah.
Like he will. Yeah. That's a long day for people.
Well, let's not forget it. This is a defensive team. This defense is really good.
Great, Jalen.
And Fangio's done a great job, and they're hard to play. They make you play left-handed. They take away what you want to do. Washington threw for 140 yards on him. Poor Sam Howell got his butt kicked. He was all over, And so Fangio's got, after the Philly game, really, from the Philly game forward, this defense is one of the best defenses in football. They're hard to block. You can't separate from them, and you're not going to be able to score a lot of points on them. And they can score points if they don't turn it over. They can score points. They're a tough out.
Hey, Fangio's D's coming together.
one of the things you thought you could get an advantage of is if you could get them to come north. But now, since they're going to be resting for the next 4 out of 5 weeks in Florida, you ain't getting them north.
Pass rush-wise, you're not worried about that defense and losing Jalen Phillips? I know Van Ginkel's a good try-hard guy, but
whoa,
that's a
good white.
Yeah,
that's what Chuck just said.
He's good fifth.
He's
first one in, last one out. Coach's kid, hard hat.
Motor.
I love him.
He's an amazing guy. Van Ginkel's an amazing guy. He's a free agent out there with a bunch of teams, and nobody signed him.
Like
this guy, all he did was make plays. He made plays for him last year.
Love him. I love him. But how big of loss is Jalen Phillips? That's a huge loss.
I think. Well, they played a lot during the season without him. I think Chubb's starting to play better. Look, they're going to miss him. Phillips is a really good player. I don't deny that. But I think their scheme is good, and it's hard to run the ball on these guys. And so you become one-dimensional against Vic Fangio's defense. It's a hard thing to go, and it's hard to put consistent drives week in and week out against them. And if they get the lead, like they're capable of doing.
Forget about it.
Forget about it is right.